Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the SoCal Prep Report. I'm Rich Estrella, and joining me tonight, as always, is Randy Rosenblum, Bobby Gibson, and, of course, Dan DeForest joining us once again. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming. We are making headway here in Southern California and the LA City section as far as high school football, high school basketball. All the sports are now in play, and it hasn't been quite as messy as we thought it might be with scheduling and practices. Everybody's getting along, and everybody's just doing the best they can. Let's go out to LA right now and talk to our pal Randy Rosenblum. Randy, how's the week been for you?
Week has been great so far, Rich, and I'm really excited about tomorrow night because it's the kickoff for the city section, a full schedule. Of course, earlier Birmingham and also El Camino Real have played because they're charter schools and they had a waiver. But everyone else gets to start tomorrow. Oh, by the way, El Camino and Birmingham were supposed to play this week, but ECR had a COVID issue in their program, so they had to back out. They'll come back the 12th, and they'll play on the 16th against Cleveland. But Birmingham was able to get another game, so they're going to play Canoga Park tomorrow night in a non-league game. But I'm excited. There's some great games. The one that really comes to mind is Palisades in Venice. Venice has a quarterback who's come in from Tennessee, Sam Fulton. He's a Steve Clarkson protege, and he went to all the camps, and he is terrific. And it'll be his first game in a gondolier uniform tomorrow against Palisades, two of the top teams in the city. Obviously, it's really one of the top games it'll be this year in the Western League.
Interesting stuff right now, Randy. What about basketball? What's going on right now in the LA City section in terms of basketball? We know it's in full swing here in the southern section. We're going to talk about that in just a couple seconds, but let's talk a little bit about basketball right now. What's going on out there with the city section?
No decision. We have no indoor basketball at this point.
Really?
We're waiting on Superintendent Buettner to open the floodgates and let the kids come in and play. But as it stands right now, no indoor basketball for the time being. I think it's going to loosen up. I think we'll have boys and girls basketball in the city section, but it's not been written in ink right now. It hasn't been signed off on to this point.
It's getting late, Randy. Not much time left, my friend. I mean, the southern section's already got them going. Some of these teams have played 4 and 5 games already.
Yeah, some of them. Damien played 9 games. Damien's already 9-0. Yeah, you're right, but it's going to be a quick schedule. But like the football in the city section, they're only going to play 4 football games. If the basketball goes, maybe they'll play 15 games, 12 games. I don't think it has to be that normal 30-game schedule that we're going to see in the southern section. So it may be a shorter schedule, but I'm confident they will get the green light and they'll go ahead and they'll play in the city section. But it's not official, not yet.
Well, I hope they make that decision soon. I could not figure out what the holdup would be. Everybody's been expecting this to come down where things might open up. To be honest with you, I thought it was done for the year. I just thought they were going to pack it in, save the money, and then deal with it come next fall. But kind of happy that the kids got out because it's just a shame that you work all these years. You start when you're like 7, 8 years old, some of these kids, and some of the sports they love, and then you get it taken away from you just when it may be the last time you'll be able to play your sport in a team fashion because, let's face it, for a lot of kids, there's – what's that?
Again, the charter schools, they can play. Again, they have the waiver, so that means El Camino Real and Birmingham. Now, I haven't seen any games posted for ECR yet, but Birmingham has a big intersectional on May 1st. I believe that's a Saturday against Windward at Birmingham. So they have posted that one game. So those 2 schools can play in the city section even now because they're charter schools.
All right, let's talk to Bob Gibson now. Bob hanging out in Orange County. Bob, another interesting week of football out here. And, you guys ought to stop prognosticating with this Trinity League, man. I told you what was going to happen already.
Yeah, we should just listen to it from the start and pretty much just check marked it right off the schedule there. Now, we knew going in Mater Dei, St. John Bosco, those are the top 2 teams. We thought Servite had a chance. That's already fallen by the wayside.
No, you thought. Dan thought.
I thought.
You guys thought. Even Randy thought.
I thought because, don't forget, Servite just missed by a point last year against Bosco. I thought, they got a much better team this year, but it wasn't to be for Servite this year, was it? So that's okay. That's all right. Well, I'll get the next pick right.
Bob, Servite had their run in that league a while back, but since Bosco and Mater Dei have a stranglehold still, and they don't give it up easy, man.
No, they sure don't, right? And now, why would they? With the talent they have put together. I mean, look at it. Even though both teams are working in younger quarterbacks in their first year, I mean, come on, the talent across the board is still just monumentally off the charts for both Bosco and Mater Dei, right? Nobody else can even come close to that. I mean, if you put Orange Lutheran or Servite would win any other league in Southern California besides the Trinity. Orange Lutheran probably may be the same, and even J. Sarah, Santa Margarita, these are really good football programs. But in the Trinity League, man, it's just a whole different world. They can win any other league anywhere, but not the Trinity, because that's how good Mater Dei and Bosco is. And I don't expect that to change anytime soon, right? The kids that are at the top of their game come to play at those two schools. And that's just the way it is right now.
No, absolutely. I agree with you there. And, you got to come back and wonder, when Troy Thomas was there, that was the last time Servite was on top in the Trinity League. Mm-hmm. They were dominant. There's no question. But when Troy left, he went to Crespi, and we knew it would take a few years for him to build that program up, but it never happened. It just never did at Crespi. And that's where he went to high school. Now they take a chance, they bring him back to Servite, and now he's able to just somehow get an army together, and he's competitive. Might be another year before they can start saying, yeah, we're viable. We are a viable alternative to Mater Dei and Bosco. Matter of fact, we plan on beating those guys and winning a national championship. That well could happen.
And they've done it before, right? I mean, I think
Sure.
That's the point, which is why Servite brought Troy Thomas back. That right. He went to his alma mater. It didn't work out at Crespi. They kind of mended some fences that maybe had been broken down a little bit. He came back to Servite, right? And everything's copacetic. But you're right. It's going to take a little bit of time to convince some of those kids that, hey, Servite's back, and we can make a run at those schools. But if you can start to turn some of those kids, right? Now, the kids who would think about Mater Dei or think about Bosco, or even maybe the leftover kids. I mean, what a term, right? Leftover kids. I mean,
well, that's
with tons of talent, but
Sure.
kids that may not have a place out of Mater Dei or may not have a place out of Bosco, right? Now they come into Servite. We know Troy Thomas can coach anybody up, right? I mean, he's just that kind of a special level of coach. So it's not going to be long before he's got that thing turned. I really expect that to be really three teams battling it out. And how much more fun would that be to have a third team in the mix? We thought J. Sarah was going to get there. It didn't really happen for them, and that program's come back down now. But I think Servite's the program really on the come, in the Trinity. I think it's not going to be too much longer now.
Well, let's be frank, Bob. Servite hasn't really done much in football since Troy Thomas left. Really hasn't. So it only makes sense they'd bring him back.
No, you're totally right? I mean, they had a couple of head coaches in the interim, right? They had an ex-player come in as a head coach. They had a guy who was a longtime fixture in Orange County, right? Had won some at Corona Del Mar come over as the head coach. But those never really worked out for Servite. I mean, they weren't able to get that level of talent in there at the school. And let's face it, that's really the bottom line. You can have any coach you want anywhere, but you got to get the certain level of talent to compete at that level. I mean, let's face it, the Trinity League is like it's the biggest conference in America in high school. Let's face it, that's just the way it is. And you got to get the right kids in there. And I think Troy Thomas can attract those kids to come in. He needs the next Cody Fajardo. He needs the next Troy Nicholas, to come there. And I think he'll get him.
Yeah, I remember when he first left, when he was negotiating to come back to Servite before he left for Crespi, Crespi offered him $4 million more a year. That's what happened. So finally, Servite got smart and they anteed up, Bob. So, Troy's getting an extra 10 a year now, 10 million or so. So, and it's showing on the field. So it was a good purchase. Bob's not even listening to this, is he? He got no idea, does he?
He might be turning around.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, never mind. I mean, what do you think of that? That's a true statement, right, Dan? That it was tens of millions of dollars on the table on that deal.
I don't know if it was that, but I honestly think it was the difference maker is the offensive defensive line right there. And that's, the talent on the outside, the quarterback, everything is right there in place. They just need to get a little bigger, a little stronger.
But is that same talent not available in the Valley? I mean, where Crespi's at? Sanford and the Valley's big, man.
I don't know. I just think with this Servite team is just a little bit away. I really thought they were going to win. They didn't get blown out. They were a touchdown away in each game. So
very good. What's up, Larry? You all right, man?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I got you, but I hear you. But yeah, whatever the motivation was, Thomas is back. He's got his old formula back, and they're doing it. But they're about a year away now, guys.
I think so.
And you know what? For Bosco in modern day, it's going to work on them because now, before they were running riffshot over that league, they were the bosses. They were in charge, no doubt. Now they have to worry about Servite. So instead of just having your eye pretty much on Bosco and Bosco on modern day, now they got to keep their eye on 2, maybe 3 teams now. So it's going to get interesting in there. It's always good when there's a new dog on the block that's trying to take over your territory. So real quick, hey, Bob, let's talk real quick about the game on the 17th. I think that's the last game, right? For the Trinity League, it's going to be the Bosco Mater Dei game. I don't think Bob's hearing us. So anyways, I'll talk to you, Dan, about it.
Sure, bro.
So Mater Dei Bosco, going to meet on April 17th. It's going to be for all the marbles in the Trinity League. What do you think of that game?
I like Bosco in that one. I like their front line, offense and defense. So they're bigger, they're stronger, they're going to push people around. I think they're going to be able to pull that one out.
You think so?
Got some great athletes on there. Yeah, they got some
Weren't
two really good quarterbacks.
Weren't you predicting Servite last time?
Well, they have 2 really good quarterbacks, and I think they trade them off and they play on the situation. So I do believe that they will prevail there.
You know,
yeah, I was predicting Servite.
Yeah, they got a good shot. They got a good shot at Bosco at beating Mater Dei because Mater Dei's, has two, I believe 2 freshmen in their backfield. One's a quarterback, so they could give them some trouble, but we'll see. We'll see. I still think Mater Dei's got some payback in mind.
Even the best quarterbacks have. Even Tom Brady has trouble throwing when people are in his face. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know, man. 10 Super Bowls, that's a lot. Every other year, the dude's in the bowl.
Yeah,
so
I know.
May have some trouble. But, yeah, you're right. Yeah, pressure is the quarterback's enemy. He does need at least that 3-4 seconds to get rid of the ball. I know in the NFL it's like 2 or you die. But, it is what it is. So Dan, basketball game last night. Woo. Basketball game last night at Crean Lutheran. LA 36 were out there. And, it was pretty much our first production back since the COVID pandemic shut down high school sports. So, but, talking about choosing a game to produce on the heels of a pandemic, this was the game. These 2 schools had, young players. Both have a little bit of tradition going right now. And, man, just to see that game, the ebb and flow of it, the spirit, just the way the game was handled, very competitive, but it didn't get out of hand. It didn't get pseudo-competitive where people want to fight. I mean, physical game, good game. Nobody got away with a big victory. Crean Lutheran kept chasing the Golden Hawks from El Dorado, chasing them, and finally I just think Crean Lutheran wore them down.
Yeah, that was a great game. You could feel the electricity in the air. Both teams were pumped up before the game. During warm-ups, and it was just an exciting game to watch as a spectator. They were diving on the floor, wrestling for balls very cleanly, but going back and forth with the scoring. Nobody got more than 4 points ahead, and it was just a dogfight the whole time till Kareem warmed down, pulled it out there at the end.
And I got to tell you, the fans were a lot of fun, well-behaved. But I was warned about going to Crean Lutheran about they have the Raider Nation mentality. They got the black hole down there and all the fans crazy. But thank God Coven kept those guys away because it would have been crazy. Actually, I'm just kidding around. You all know that. But, yeah, it was just a great matchup. And we'll see what happens. A long way to go. I didn't realize there was that many more games to go. I thought it was going to be truncated like the football season is where you're only playing 5 or 6 games max, and you're done. But basketball, they're going to finish it out.
It's really interesting. They have like the three more preseason games, and they have a full schedule during the pandemic. So it's going to be great. It's good to see.
Is Bobby Gibson back?
Yes.
Hey, Bob, you still alive?
Look, I'm here. A little technical difficulty. You got to hang with it a little bit, but I'm here. I'm back.
All right. We just talked to the guru over here, America's Realtor, DeForest. But I'm asking the same question. Mater Dei taking on Bosco. A week from this Friday, or was it Saturday? What's the 17th, John? You know?
Saturday.
It's a Saturday?
Yeah,
okay, a Saturday game. Hopefully Fox or Bally's or whoever. Who is it? Who is it now? We got Sinclair?
Bally.
Oh, it's Bally. Okay, hopefully they'll carry the game so everybody could see it. Ought to be good. We're not in competition with anybody. If there's good football out there, we'll tell you about it, and that's where you should go on the 17th to watch that game because I know they're going to have it. And you have the two former national champions who cannot be national champion this year because the state wouldn't let them play this year until afterward, but everybody else in the United States did, and so they had to go with the rest of the country. So IMG Academy is the current champion, although it could have easily been Mater Dei or Bosco, fellas.
Yeah, no, it's very true, right? I mean, that could have happened if they had let them start a football season a little bit earlier than they did. But that's what we're dealing with, right? That's what we were faced with. You going to ask me my prediction for that game?
I was going to, but you guys are high on Servite, and you guys you blow everything, man. So I don't want to jinx any other team. But go ahead, Bob. Who you picking? Who you picking, Bob?
I'm picking Mater Dei.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that because
a slight upset, probably, right?
Dan's picking Bosco. You're picking Mater Dei.
I'll take
So
Mater Dei.
all right, we'll see what happens.
It's going to be a classic matchup again, though. Really, I mean, it's no matter what, it's always a good matchup between these two schools, and the way Bosco turned the tables on Mater Dei, the last time the two of them got together, and then Bosco got a chance to become the national champions again. I mean, that was just really something else. I mean, that's one of the classic games of all time.
Well, I just wish they would have. Like I said, I wish they could play now, play in the playoffs, and then play again in state. I mean, it would be great to see these guys go head to head a couple times every year. That's the only game they get. Is each other.
Yeah, no, it's true, right? They'll get the one chance against each other, and that's it, right? Because we always look forward to that second matchup, which is always for the Open Championship and a chance to play for a state, and then usually a national title. But not to be this year. It's all right. We'll take what we can get because we didn't think we were going to get anything.
Well, don't forget, Bob.
So we'll take it.
What I missed the most about this year was seeing all the California teams and the Texas teams, right. Ohio, Florida, all mixing it up in pre-league because the elite teams do travel. Bosco travels, Mater Dei travels. Matter of fact, one year Mater Dei played 5 preseason games all out of state.
Right.
They get paid too, but they went out of state. So I mean, those are the games I really miss because that's how you can really. National powers should play national powers in the off season to really get a gauge on these polls and who you're going to crown as the mythical national champion. So that's why I appreciate these games more than anything, just to see the talent levels. And for some reason, Texas has been getting left behind. I don't understand that.
Well, Texas doesn't seem to be playing the same schedules, right? I mean, Mater Dei played IMG, right?
Yeah.
Mater Dei said, we'll step up. Well, IMG said, we'll step up. We'll take that game. Mater Dei won. So You're right. When you talk about a national championship, it used to be, well, you think someone could have beat this one. You think these guys could have beat these guys. Now we know, right? Like, Mater Dei beat IMG that year. We know Mater Dei was the better team. We don't have to speculate. We know they were. So, you're right. To get back to that kind of a regular thing where teams can commingle in and out of state. I mean, we're just trying to get to the point where counties can commingle, right? We're worried about whether Riverside and LA County can play, and Orange and San Bernardino. We got to get to that point first. Then we can start talking about traveling out of state and getting these games. Even though technically the club teams are getting out of state and playing some games, but hey.
No, I understand that, but that's what I miss most about not having a good preseason this year in football because we didn't get to see the elite teams play, and it's always good to see those teams play.
Those games are so much fun. I mean, that IMG Mater Dei matchup was so good, and to see Mater Dei pull that thing out, I think was really a high point for football in the state of California. I mean,
Randy,
today, we were the top team that year.
Randy, what do you think about Bosco Mater Dei upcoming? Uh-oh. Hey, Randy, how you doing, my friend? Randy's saying he thinks, Bosco's got a good team.
He's going with Bosco.
The lip reader? DeForest is the lip reader, right?
Yeah,
I think he's saying Bosco's
he's saying
going to win
Bosco.
that.
Yeah, he's
because of the front
line,
offensive line.
We can't hear
and the defensive
Randy.
line.
We're not hearing. I know, but
he's very emphatic about that too.
Okay, let's do sign language. I wish I could do that.
He's
and do it
saying Bosco,
effectively.
100%.
Can't do that. I don't understand it.
Write it on a piece of paper and hold it.
Anyways, all right. Well, Randy usually has pretty good insight on those games. I don't think he was on.
I'll try to help him out right now. Go ahead, continue.
All right, he wasn't on the Servite bandwagon this year. Randy, you back? No? Okay. We'll get to him in a second. We'll get to him in a second. All right, fellas. So, Bob, what's going on with baseball right now? We going to have a season, a regular season, or what's going on right now? What do you know? Or do you know anything?
We got tournament time going on down in J. Sarah. Don't forget the Boris was wiped off the board. The good people at the Boris Corporation decided to shut that tournament down. And rightfully so. We didn't know what was going to happen at that point, and that tournament will definitely be back next year. They split that, don't forget, between Jay Serra and Mater Dei. But Jay Serra and Mater Dei both stepped up and said, hey, we still want to do some tournaments here. So, Brett Kay, who's one of the best guys you'll ever meet, loves high school baseball, the head coach of Jay Serra, he's always willing to step up. Don't forget, he's the guy that gave up his field to everybody a couple of years ago during all those bad rains and everything. And he said, hey, anybody wants to play, come play in my field, right? And he allowed that to happen. So he got these tournaments together. So we've been seeing the top talent, Harvard Westlake, Jay Serra, all these great teams across Southern California playing in this tournament. And like any baseball season, it's tough to know early on who the best teams are. You think you know who they are. There's some upsets. But that's kind of how baseball is, right? It doesn't always go to plan early on. But as you get down in the season, you really see that talent play out. Jay Serra, I still think, has some of the best talent around. Gabe Jump, who's going to be a first-round draft pick, pretty high in this next baseball draft coming up. Probably the best pitcher in Southern California this year. So Jay Serra is loaded again. And I still think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But you're right, when we talk about playoffs and all that and whether or not that's going to happen, but there's still so much top talent in Southern California. This is the place for baseball. It always has been, I think always will be.
I like the way you discussed the Scott Boras Classic, which is really basically Scott Boras farming for new clients, and you know it's the truth, right?
Well,
every year he throws that classic, and it's another $40 million in contracts come the fall, and it's from the 4 years prior. But that's why he throws this classic. So
there's
stop
no
acting like
baseball.
he's doing it because he's like a DeForest kind of guy that's just getting the word out to the community. He ain't farming for nobody. DeForest doesn't. We know why Boras does this classic. I like you, Bob.
There's a shortage of young baseball players who want to sign with the Boras Corporation, who are represented by Scott Boras, because guess what? He gets his clients top dollar each and every time. Even when you think his clients aren't going to get big money, they end up getting big money. That's why Scott Boras is the best of them.
It is what it is, man. Every general manager in baseball hates him. Right?
And they should, right?
Yeah,
right? Yeah, they do. They hate this guy.
Absolutely.
He destroys teams.
Walks away as the winner of these deals, right? You think, oh man, they're going to put their foot down. They're not going to let Boras win this one, and he does anyway.
Yeah, he
always
does.
Wins the negotiation. He's just that good, and he's a good guy too. I mean, that tournament they put on is always top notch, and it always brings the best talent, and it's so much fun. So when we get back to normalcy, quote unquote, we'll be able to have, and I think baseball and softball are two of the sports that are obviously able to come back quicker than some of the other close contact sports.
Do you think Scott Boras is going to invite Sisters of the South to that tournament, Bob? Come on, brother.
No, top talent that gets invited to that one. The top teams in Southern California only, please. And don't forget,
It's
there's
shameful.
Arizona
It's
portion.
shameful. An agent should not be throwing a tournament for amateurs. That should never happen.
Well, it's
Shouldn't
separate,
happen.
right? It's separate. It's sponsored by the Boras Corporation, but it's
Whatever,
I think it's a good
Bob.
thing because it
Bob, you know what?
showcases the
Go
talent.
get a White House correspondent job for the
Hey,
president.
hey,
Live for him, all right?
Believe me, I'm not
Spin
carrying
City.
water for Scott Boras here. I'm not minded for a
This is a
job
smooth
for
talker.
Pivotal or anything like that. But yeah, it's good to have more opportunities to have young men on the baseball field and showing their talent. And when you can get the top teams together like that, playing each other, that's what everybody wants to see. You want to see the best against the best. You want to see that Orange Lutheran La Mirada matchup we had last year before COVID shut everything down. That's what everybody wanted to see. We got that matchup. We got those top two pitchers that pitched in that one, and that was a lot of fun. But those are the kind of matchups you want to see.
All right, we'd like to thank Barrister Bob Gibson for the Boras Classic for coming on the air with us tonight. Bob, that's some of your best BS yet, brother. I'm down with you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Let's get back to Randy now. Hey, Randy, we're sorry about that. Listen, we're sitting here just kicking back, talking. I don't know what's going on with the audio, but we left you off at Bosco Mater Dei. What are your thoughts on that game coming up in 2 weeks?
Well, Mater Dei's got more experience. They have 20 seniors that want some redemption from losing a year ago in the championships. But I still like St. John Bosco. I like the physicality up front. They both have young quarterbacks. We've documented that. I'm going to go with Bosco in a close one. It should be another great classic game between the two. But I like St. John Bosco because I like the beef up front in that offensive front.
All right. You know what? Great. When we couldn't hear you, but you were talking, DeForest read your lips perfectly. That's exactly what you done. That's exactly what he said.
Dan and I are in sync.
We're in sync. We're simpatico.
Yeah, I
Good.
couldn't believe it. He was going word for word.
It's good.
We're telegraphic, telepathic. We'll tell everything.
My God. All right. Well, I think that's good. I just brought the showdown right there. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
fellas.
just
but
really quick.
we're at the end of
Guys,
the
what
line.
about Norco beating Corona
Yes.
Centennial?
Well,
Yeah, right.
Wow.
we could go an extra minute to talk about that. Was that a great game or what,
Oh,
fellas?
yeah.
Right down to the
Incredible.
last play, just about, pretty much. It was
That was
fantastic. It was two heavyweights going at it. Norco jumped out to a pretty good lead, but Centennial came right back and forth, kept swinging. Couple of turnovers late in the game. I mean, the game would have, Corona Centennial would have won that game if they would have capitalized on that turnover. Instead, on the, what was it, a long pass or a punt or something, they fumble at the goal line.
Right,
And Norco got the ball back and scored, and that was pretty much lights out, baby.
Incredible.
But I like the way Centennial came right back with a 2,000-yard touchdown pass. I mean, that ball was like 70 yards, but it was just beautiful. The kid took off, and it was gone, man. Centennial got the money back right on the next play. But that game, you were tired at the end. 38-36 game, fellas. Unbelievable game.
Yeah, it was a 57-game winning streak in the Big Eight for Corona
57.
Centennial, and that gets snapped. I think the real storyline there is the quarterback of Norco, Kyle Crum, is a transfer from Corona Centennial. He
Yeah.
had over 100 yards rushing. He threw the ball effectively when he needed to.
260
So he comes back to haunt his old school and snap their winning streak.
Yeah, it happens, man. It's kind of like any other school. When you have too much talent at one school, they have to bleed out. They have to go somewhere else. I tell athletes all the time when they ask if they should go to this school or that school because they're a football school or basketball. I always tell them no. Go to the local school. You know, you'll get better by playing with guys that aren't all stars, like a modern day team or something like that, where they recruit. They've got every all-star kid everywhere. They got all the height. They got 6'3" guards and stuff like that. But what do you really learn when you pass the ball to another all-star? Oftentimes, that's just a black hole. You're never going to get it back. So you learn a little bit more when you have you might lose a few games, but so what? At least it was fun playing and not sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
You know?
So you want to be the 7th or 8th guy down the bench at modern day, or you want to be the
Starter.
And yeah, right.
At John
That's,
Glenn. Heck yeah.
All day.
Sometimes that's the decision they have to make, and I get it. It's got to be an honor to wear that modern day or Bosco or Centennial uniform and take the field. I'm sure that's a lot of fun, but man, don't you want to play and get that chance?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd rather play, man. All right, guys, we're about out of time. Randy, got anything to say on the way out?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Jacob Galloway, the great running back at Banning. He starts off against Kennedy of Granada Hills. I think he's got a chance, Galloway. He's this good to rush for 1,000 yards in the 4 games that they play.
All right. Bob, we got a minute.
You guys are talking about that Lutheran El Dorado game we did when I was off, when they had the technical difficulty. I just want to shout out to both teams really quick. They got a standing ovation from the crowd at the end. They both deserved it. They both played a heck of a game. Those are 2 very good girls basketball teams here in Southern California.
I echo that fact. And Dan, what do you got to say?
Absolutely. I agree with you too, Bob. Yeah, that was a great game, great team, great spirit.
It was what we needed and what everybody needs to see right now, because
Yes,
it was just a
yes.
great fight. 2 teams coming back after sitting around from COVID, bored as all heck, tired of playing each other, and finally got on the court and got to play some a real opponent. So kudos to everybody. I'd like to thank Green Lutheran, the administration, everybody there. It couldn't have been nicer making the broadcast easy for us to do. All right, everybody, on behalf of Randy Rosen, Dan DeForest, Bob Gibson, I'm Rich Estrella saying so long from your friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. Join us next week. Same time, same place. Catch you then. Good night, everybody.